Welcome everyone. Today we have a Dota Underlord guide for the latest meta and the latest patch, of course. So I'm using the freestyle mode, which is available in Dota Underlord. I have prepared units ready for us. What I'll do is I'll explain the build with the formations, item choices, the Underlord selections, and what to look out for in early game, mid game, and late game. This will be more specific on a few build that is interchangeable, and we'll go through each of the build as we go throughout the week. As the patch comes out, I might make an update for the build, and we might make small patch changes depending on how things change with the meta as well. So starting things off, as you can see, we have lots of Hunter units, Fallen units, and some Demon units. So what are we? We're Hunter, Demon, and Fallen. There are about 3 variations which I felt is really powerful here. So first of all, we're going to go with the first variation, which only requires 7 units, and you require at least 2 3-stars. So this is level 7 build. You have the Draw Ranger, Wind Ranger as a 3-star. Lich is optional, and Lich should be your third 3-star if you can manage. And after that, Shadow Demon's okay. Patch, Vengeful, and also Terrorblade are okay. You don't need those 4 units to be 3-star. And how you should start this particular build is you go to level 3, and you actually roll a little bit on level 3 over 30 gold to look for the Lich and Draw Ranger. After that, if you're really high on Lich and Draw Ranger, you can go to level 4 and start rolling over there for Lich, Draw Ranger, and Wind Ranger. On the lookout for those 4 units, but they are not a must-have because you'll be rolling for quite a bit. I recommend going for the losing streak, and if you're losing streak, you should be looking at level 16 or round 16 for at least 1 3-star, hopefully. And by round 20, you should have finished your rolling for at least 2 of the 3-stars. Then you should be leveling to level 7 with this setup. For the item choices, for the early game, look for Chainmail, look for Gloss of Haste, which one is to give the frontline punch, the other one can be used on any of the DPS units. Sometimes you can give a Vanguard on the punch or maybe something on the Lich for the frontline. After that, you should always start rolling for your items on the second item choice, which is the round 4. Round 4, you should be looking for Barricade and Desolator. Those 2 are by far the best items for us. You can go for a target body too, but Barricade just enables you to have such good positioning and enables you to get a really good defensive formation against hunters, mages, against the spirits, against assassins and swordsmen, against almost anything. And after that, if I happen to get a Crown of Hunters, which turns as a unit into a hunter, I can curve this build into a 6 hunter build just by leveling to level 9 with 2 more hunters like Marana and Medusa. So this is the late game transition to get into 6 hunters. So how you want to position for this build? You want your Wind Ranger in the back line if there's no many patches. If there's a lot of patches, put her in the front and put Shadow Demon here. After that, Draw Ranger should be in the middle of the fight, and your Terrorblade can be over here, Lich can be here, and Venge can be here. This allows the patch to tank first, Terrorblade works in forward and also get buffed by Draw Ranger. Lich and Venge can die first. The Crown choice should only go for Shadow Demon, maybe Venge, because those tend to survive for longer. Lich is here to be sacrificed. Now, after this build, you have 2 variations of transition, and then we're going to talk about the other builds that's available for us. The first transition is, as we spoke earlier, get the Marana, get the Medusa, and get the Crown of Altars. You have the 6 hunters. If you don't get this, what you can do is you can actually look for the Fallen. Look for the 2-star, 1-star DP, look for 1-star or 2-star Abaddon, and then see if you can get the Wolf King. If you get him, you get the whole team, and you can lose the Shadow Demon, and now you have level 19. So those are the 2 variations, and this build is incredibly powerful under the situation if there is 1 or less hunter players. So there's 1 other hunter player, or if there's only you playing the hunter. Let's go to the second variation of this particular build. So now let's look at the second variation of the Hunter and Fallen build. So for this particular one, this is very close linked to the third variation, which is a Demon and Hunter build. What we're looking at, again, is you want some early game units like the Draw Ranger, Lich, Venge, which are tier 1 units, followed by that tier 2 with Wind Ranger and Patch. After that, you'll be looking for the Terrorblade, you'll be looking for the Abaddon, and also there's a Shadow Demon to look for. So this build does not require you to be rolling for any 3-stars. You start with Hunter, you save for the 30 gold, and you go to level 4, level 5, level 6 whenever you can with over 30 gold of surplus. And your goal is to establish something like this at level 6, And if you don't have the purge, you can use the Shadow Demon. If you don't have any of the units here, you can remove some for something else. If you don't have Wind Ranger, you can get the Fallen. If you don't have that, you can go for Shadow Demon for more Heartless. So either 4 Heartless, 3 Hunters, or 3 Fallens for level 6. And level 6, you should be able to stabilize with those units to 2 star. Same item to look out for: Armor and Gloves of Haste, Barricade and Desolator Essential. And something to highlight is if you do see Spectre players, it's better to have Wind Ranger and Jaw Ranger, because you have the Fallen, she will run in, and the Fallen, you have the Vigilant. Spectre will run in, and as she runs in, the Vigilant will actually hit her because she's the one that just cast it, and that kills her because she doesn't have much HP. You won't be expecting a 3-star Spectre, probably 1-star or 2-star at this time. What makes this build great, and how do you make this build work, is that by level 7 you can start save for by level 6 you can save for level 7 and level 8. And once you do that, find whatever Heartless or whatever Fallen units you can get, and they will actually help you to boost the board. As you go further, draw at level 9 if you can, or level 8 if you're desperate, for the Skeleton King or the Wolf King. You only need the 1-star of him, and once you have him, and you likely have Abaddon saving on the bench. So you keep all the Fallen units at least 1-star on the bench. By that time, at level 9, you swap out the Fallen, you swap in the Fallen, take away the Heartless, and then you can take back the Shadow Demon if you needed to go with the 6 Fallen. Then lastly, you can go for the double Heartless after. Now, why are people picking the Fallen so often, and why are they so game changing right now? It's not only you turn enemies into zombies because Wolf King is like a moving tomb. All the Fallen units actually gets reset of the spells and items when they die and come back alive at the 6th Fallen level. So if you had a Shivers Guard on the Wolf King, it's going to actually double use the Shivers. If you had a Refresher on Abaddon, he's going to double use Refresher. And so is Lich. A 3-star Lich will double use the 3-star effect if Lich dies and come back again. Terribly will transform twice, and if he has BKB, he will use BKB twice. So this is why Fallens are so powerful. What I like to use is sometimes go for mech. I'll show you guys the mechanism. Mechanism is great because it heals for 750. If you have 6 Fallens, they will actually heal twice for 1500. This counters the mage because hunters are very squishy against the mage. Just put it on someone in the front, and when they actually pop, they can pop it twice. Other item you can look for is Paladin Sword. Paladin Sword is actually surprisingly good for us because not many synergies heals now. But with the Fallen and Paladin Sword, you get a 20% extra heal rate. Obviously, you want to go for the Barricade and Desolator for this build because they're just so good on the hunters. You also want to go for Anessix with Entrall with all the hunter builds, because she minuses armor, she gives you 1 more ally, and she's incredibly good for additional damage. So definitely consider that. So here is the third variation of the Hunter, Fallen, and Demon build. We mentioned Demon at the start of the guide. The Demon comes into Spectre and Terrorblade, and also you should be picking Anessix and also Shadow Demon. So here we'll have at least 4 demons because Anessix will summon a Demon Archer, which is considered as a demon. That will give you 50% more damage for all your demons. After that, it is potentially possible to pick up a Rasu Circlet, which gives you another demon. What I do is, I don't want my demons to be casting fast, so I actually don't want my other units that can cast spells to have this item, because they will silence my other demons. So I give it to Jaw Ranger, she doesn't cast, she just have an aura. So usually Jaw Ranger is the only candidate for the Rasu Circlet. And now that, what we're going to do is, we'll look at the build and how you transition with the Spectre. Initially, you may be living with a few units, and you might not even have the Terrorblade, depending on which one you have first. Spectre is very powerful. You can give Spectre some damage items, some defensive items, as long as your unit is positioned in such a way that one unit is actually distracting enemies, and Spectre has enough mana to cast, then she can get going. And when she gets going, then she's actually kind of go on to the cooldown period, and then the Terrorblade can get going. Spectre is powerful because Spectre gains 200 attack speed, which is 200% her current attack speed at 1.11 attack speed. It's a lot. And during that 4 seconds, she also has the Demon Power Boost, and which just kind of turns the game around and snipes 2 or 3 units in the backline. Again, you want to combine this combination with Fallen, you want to combine it with Heartless, and ideally you want to have a tank with Purge. Usually what I do is around level 8 in this build, I want to get in a formation, in this kind of formation, with the 4 Heartless, 3 Hunters, and Fallen with 3. And this is the best setup for us to consider what one to go. We can go for 3-star Terrorblade, we can go for the 3-star Spectre if they are available in the game. Keeping in mind, there's only 18 of the tier 3 units, like Spectres and Terrorblade in total in the game. So if someone buys 5 of them, you have 6 of them because you have 2 2-stars. There's only 7 of them left in the game. So your rates of finding the rest of your units is less than 1/3 of the existing rate, which is quite low. And if no one's taking Spectre, if no one's taking Terrorblade, roll for them at level 7, roll for them at level 8, and you don't want to go to level 9 to roll for them. After that, item for Spectre, yes, we had a mention earlier, you can go for Battle Free, you can go for BKB, those are not bad. One is very offensive, one is very defensive. Like Kimba's over here, yeah. You can go for the Battle Free, she will actually start cleaving everyone and killing everyone. You can go for the BKB to keep her alive. Now, at what moment should you consider going for the Fallen, or should you keep going for the Hunters, or should you keep going for the Heartless? It's depending on the number of enemies that is already Hunters, Fallens, or number of enemies with Spectre and Terrorblade. You know you'll be very strong under one condition, is that Spectre cast before Terrorblade. If Terrorblade cast, Spectre being a melee unit is going to be in the fight very early, and she will die before she gets to cast. She won't be able to survive for the 4-second duration of the silence. So what I do is, I make sure the positioning is that we actually kind of somehow surround the Terrorblade in, so he doesn't get out, and sometimes I even stack him in even further. Not this much though. If I have a Void Storm, I might even stack him in even further to just... That's a faceless void. Let's get a Void Storm. So if I get a Void Storm, I'll stack him even further. I know he's not coming out of this box, because all range units, right? I get a Spectre to fight. As Spectre fights, Terrorblade will be silenced, because Spectre casts first. Then Spectre dies or Spectre survives, Terrorblade will sit in a corner, gain mana, transform, benefit from the Hunter effect, and just kill everyone in a safe spot. This is what I love the most, and having some mana gain on Terrorblade is actually really good. You can have him here, it's okay. On the other side, if Terrorblade and Spectre both are running forward, someone hits the Terrorblade and he transforms. If he's close, he's going to run back to Jaw Ranger. If he's not, he just keeps fighting. But Spectre will be useless. So if you're going for the demon build, make sure Spectre always casts before Terrorblade. And that's the essential part. Now in the later stage of the game, I wouldn't recommend going for multiple demons like this, because Spectre will actually silence each other and making the other one useless. It is not worth it for the 50% more damage for demons. Because having about 4 demons on the board without Rasu and 5 demons with Rasu is enough. If Anessix survives, she can make 1 more demon with her ultimate, and this actually gives us 5 demons. Definitely enough power to kill anyone. Lastly, for the build to work, you will need 3 stars in the final stage of the game. And also, if enemies are very drawn back and they are not getting pulled by your hunter units, you should actually have a few tanks in the front to take aggression away from the Spectre, away from the Terrorblade. Once you find the 3-star Spectre or the Terrorblade, go to level 9, go to level 10 for the Heartless and the Fallen, whatever comes first. And this allows you to transition between the 3 hunters. For the first hunters, so let's make a quick summary. For the first hunters, you want to have 3 stars with Jaw Ranger and the Wind Ranger, and maybe Lich potentially. You go to level 7, you make it work. If there's a lot of hunter players, you don't do this. You make for the second hunter or the third hunter. You go for the Fallen hunter, you go for the Demon hunter with the Spectre and Terrorblade. Those hunters are more versatile because you're not just rolling for 3 stars, and you can be easily finding a 2-star and maybe rolling a level 7 a bit for those. Finally, you can easily adjust into the Fallens, Heartless, or Hunters depending on what items you get. With 1 crown, I can go for 6 Hunters. Without crown, I can go for 6 Heartless, or I can go for the 6 Fallens. It depends on how you find it, and you need at least 1 of those items to have a really smooth game. 1 is Barricade, 1 is Desolator, 1 is going to be Anessix with the Entrall. If you have none of that, it's a little difficult for hunters. Item to look out for against mages is definitely Pipe. Items to consider, or the alliance to consider against mages, is going to be Tide Hunter, Medusa, and make sure you barricade yourself in the corner so units don't run out. They cannot triangle you if you don't get out of the corner. And you know, a 3-star or 2-star Medusa, 2-star Tide Hunter, and the Wind Ranger can really help over here. So let me know what you guys think about the guide, and let me know how you find it. I want to make more frequent guides. I don't want to overwhelm you guys with it, but there's a lot of things I want to share. So this is a test run, and let's see how it goes. Thank you for watching, guys.